And we are live. Thank you for coming. My name is Dan, and I am the organizer of the Philip K. Dick Film Festival, a festival that has been in existence for 11 years. The goal of our festival is to bring filmmakers from all over the world who share the same themes, the same inspiration as the famous writer Philip K. Dick. At our festival, our focus is to look for filmmakers that explore the nature of reality, who we are as human beings. What does it mean to be? What is the nature of existence, and so on. And so every year we hold the festivals. Most of the time we hold them in New York City, and also we do them in Europe and Lille, France. And every so often we'll have a group of filmmakers that we feel are especially unique and sharing the vision that of the festival, the Philip K. Dick Film Festival. So with that in mind, I'm happy to bring in a filmmaker whose film Faith was won best sci-fi short at the most recent Philip K. Dick Film Festival in New York. And her name is Carol Butron, and I'm very happy to have her here. Hi, Carol. How are you?
Hello. I'm really excited and happy to see you again, Dan.
Good, excellent, excellent. It's been a while. I wanted to make sure I promised you that we were going to have our interview. It's taken a little bit longer than usual, but we're getting around, and I'm sure you have a lot of stuff to tell us. So, but before we start, what I want to do is I want to share a little bit of info about your background with the audience. So, give me a second, and while I look this up, okay. So a little short bio on Carol. Carol Butron is a director, music composer, screenwriter, actress, entrepreneur, digital media expert, and a poet born and based in Madrid and raised in Galicia. She's CEO and founder of two companies, the production company Aura Pictures and the digital agency Aura Growth. She speaks English and French fluently and is native in Spanish and Galician. A little bit about her background. Her Carol's first steps in the industry were in the theater, where she started acting in different Galician theater groups when she was 9 years old. Her first work as director in 2017 premiered at the Festival International de Gijón. Afterwards, she makes some documentary works, and finally, she turns to her large format short film, Faith, a film we had at our festival, a project in which she seeks to reach the same quality of any chapter of a Hollywood series. For this, the works in the professional worldwide for 3 years. Some of them will appear in GAIA, which is her new project. The short film Faith is being a great success worldwide, though through its distribution company Maluki Films, Films, and with a great dialogue of international filmmakers. It premiered at the official section of SITGES International Film Festival, which is probably the largest film festival of its kind in Europe and in the United States, and the official selection of the Buffalo Film Festival in Paris at the spectacular Grand Rex Theater, where it won special jury mention at the United Kingdom at the Wales International Film Festival. It is also touring other countries such as in Costa Rica, Brazil, Croatia, Italy, and many, many more. And in addition, the 2021 film was screened at the Film Academy of Spain. It was also selected as part of the cycle of Women in Fantastic Film, SITGES, being there one of 5 women chosen to screen her work in the Cineteca Matadero. In the same year, she presents GAIA to Connective Fiction with her production company Aura Pictures, being the most awarded series, France 3 Nouvelle Aquitaine, to Development Navarra Award, Accord Music Library, and appearing 3 times at Variety. I think that gives us a little taste of your background. Very, very busy. I can see that. Tell us a little bit about I know your music and you has always been very much connected. So tell us a little about the inspiration behind the making of Faith, first of all.
Okay. um, I wanted to do something relevant, big, and well done, but I didn't know the subject. And I knew it wasn't going to come if I was sitting in my desk thinking on subjects, because it doesn't work like that for me. I work through images. I normally get the ideas when I'm walking. And one day I was just walking in my house, actually, I remember. And then I got this image of two people in different dimensions communicating through music, through piano music. And I really loved this idea. I always felt like the way I do cinema, the way, this is very personal, but I like to do things that are different. Like I feel there's a lot of, like, stories are always the same, love, death, it's always the same. But in my case, I wanted to do something different. And this image, I thought it was quite different. I'm sure there's a lot of things done like that, but to me, it was a little bit different.
Excellent, excellent. So when when I was watching, it kind of reminds me a little bit. I was thinking about that film the other days, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the old ancient Greeks talked about the music of the spheres as a kind of a kind of a portal to other dimensions and other places. Is that were you also borrowing from all more classical or Hermetic traditions?
To be honest, I'm a really intuitive person. Like, I rarely bore things. Like, they come to me. I cannot explain, but they come to me. It's like an inspiration, right? And it's true that since I studied history, uh, maybe I do have all of that in me. Actually, I'm a very when I studied history, I was specialized in ancient history. This is you hit it well, because Greek history is my favorite, and I do have a lot of references from Greek history in my mind. Like Gaia, the name of my series is a Greek name, the Greek name of the earth, right? So yes, I mean, I'm sure there is reference, but they come to me more than, oh, we lost connection.
No, you're there.
Okay. I'm so sorry. So they come to me more than other thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, how long? When was the film? When did you start pre-production? Let's get that to the inception of the film. When did you actually thought about it? Said, I'm going to go and write this script, and how did the whole process? Because there's some filmmakers out there, or maybe potential filmmakers, that are probably curious. It's always daunting for someone who wants to have their story out there in the world. Well, how do they go about it? Because it seems like it's like a series of multiple things. So just walk us very briefly, maybe as to what were the original steps when you got this idea, this intuition, and how did you make it a real? How did you start it? When did it become real? And how did you write it? And what was the whole process? Very, from broad strokes.
Yeah. When I get the idea, I'm very intuitive, but when I work on the idea, I'm very systematic. So in this case, like, I took the example of the Oscar winning. I always take the example of the best, right? So I took an Oscar winning short film that is called Sing, that is also 20 minutes, because I wanted to do something long, because I am a person that works better in long format, like long, short, or feature long stories, because I needed time to develop the story. I'm not so fast, right? But so what I thought was, if I want to do like a short like that, like this Oscar winning short, I need to learn how they did it, right? So I studied the credits, I studied the project, I studied how they did all of it, and then to me it was all about. I realized I was going to do it alone, because no production company wanted to produce me. So in my case, what I do is just I ask to all the people that know how to do this, right? So I took the phone and I ask. And then I started to realize that it was a big short when you want to do a 20-minute science fiction short, you cannot do it with 3 friends in a weekend. You need a full team. You need to shoot. In our case, it was 6 days, and you need a full crew, right? And you need a head of every department, and you need people on it, right? So I just learned, and it was really good. And I did it like that because this is the same structure I need for a series or for a feature. So this way I can learn how to do it properly, right? So I just made a lot of calls, study a lot, ask a lot. And then finally I did something that was affordable for me. Like I could shoot 6 days in terms of experience, in terms of money. I mean, I didn't go super big, right? I didn't go for a feature before doing this big short. You can do it. I mean, you can perfectly do it, but I'm not that type of person. I need to have things like organized and a way that I think I can do it. No, so it was more a process of asking. It was super hard because by that time I didn't have any contacts. I didn't have a name or anything. So at that time there was no production people available, right? So this was the hardest thing, to find a director of production, right? And then it comes Alba. You met her in New York. She's amazing, and she was studying, and she had the time and she wanted to do it. So I will forever be thankful to her, because it took me like 5 months to find a production director, right? So then after that it was easier, because everything came along and it was easier.
So when did you start writing the film? When did you start writing the script for the film?
Oh, it was quite a thing, because before writing, I composed the music. This is also related to what I said. I am intuitive when I do things. So I composed 3 songs. And then with this, like a little bit like, Lynch, he hires a piano man, and then he's saying to him, lower, higher, slower. And after that, he writes. It's a bit like that. I capture the moods, and then I wrote. So I wrote the script around 2017, November 2017. And then I recorded the music in 2018, actually before shooting. And then I was able to shoot in November 19. Because of all of these difficulties, getting the money, getting the crew, many things. Almost 2 years after the idea and writing the script, I was able to shoot. And then I was doing the post-pro, and it was a process of almost 3 years.
So tell us a little bit about your the whole festival process, because for a lot of people that's another maddening process. A lot of filmmakers often complain that they don't get their film seen, and they send out tons and tons of film of their and one rejection after another. So it can be very difficult for filmmakers to stick it. I mean, to eventually find that one festival or festivals that really appreciate the work. Did you have anything comparable? I know it's a great film. I'm sure a lot of people from the beginning were interested, but did you have any kind of experiences in the beginning that were a little disappointing, and how did you bounce back?
Well, in my case, it was really hard because I ended the movie in 2020 August, and all of the festivals were online because of COVID. So I had to wait 1 year more after the 3 years of making the movie. I had to wait 1 year more until November 2021 to premiere at SITGES. It was 1 year. It was a really stressful year for me, because you work a lot and then you see that you cannot put the movie out there. It's really, and regarding advice to other people. So my first short, or one of the shorts I made, Shit, it's a bad name. I moved it myself, right, through platforms. What I can say about this process is that it's a lot of work, a lot of hours, and it doesn't pay off sometimes, because unluckily this is the way it is, or this is my experience. Like, if you go to a distribution company that has the connections, sometimes it shouldn't be like that. Like, for example, with you, Dan, I'm sure you watch everything because it was the first time ever my distribution company got to Philip K. So you're one of the few people that actually watches everything. But normally there's like connections, like in everything. So, and also experience. So in my case, I would say, why not, if you can save €2,000 to $3,000, I don't know, hire a production distribution company if you really, it's a huge project and you really want it, and why not work with them, because they give you like my Lucky, they are incredible. They gave me a lot of advice, such as you need to have a great premiere, and that's maybe something you don't know when you start, that if you don't have a great premiere, then it's not so good, or that you cannot put the movie for 2 years online, or things that maybe you don't know. So if you can hire a professional, if you really want this movie to hit, I will advise you to do that.
Which is to get a distribution and kind of at least a distribution or a salesperson or someone along those lines.
That's my experience. Maybe other people have other experience. It depends. And also find a distribution company. What I would like to say as well, the distribution company or the person has to love the project or has to believe on it, right? Because in my case, I changed distribution company. I started with one that was really great, but the guy we didn't connect. He was waiting for some other kind of science fiction, more technological, and when he saw Faith, he didn't understand. And then I say, no, I don't mind he's the best or the more, and he's really great person. He's my friend, but if there's no connection there, it's going to be a 2 years process where you really, and so my Lucky from day one, I remember it was very beautiful because it was my first big thing, and he sent me an email. He's an old person like you, like I am. He has sent me an email at 12 o'clock night saying, this is wonderful, it's amazing. And that's important. People you work with believe in the project.
Right. Yeah, it's really important because, like I tell a lot of filmmakers, look, I mean, you gotta, when you do your film, when you work on your film, you really gotta think very, very long term. Ideally, it's not an easy, it's not an easy road ahead. I think at the end, it's about telling your story or stories, and not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm just gonna land this amazing short or feature, and I'm gonna get a distribution deal, and then next thing is Hollywood or a deal with Amazon or Netflix. Unfortunately, most of the time it doesn't work that way. But you got to really love it for what it is. I mean, was that your experience? I mean, were you when you start, after you were finished with this short with Faith, did you at that time, what was the attitude? I mean, were you saying, I'm hoping I get distribution deal, or were you saying, okay, I've done the very best, let's see who picks it up? How did you deal with the challenges and frustrations that often come with expectations being shot, and say, oh my God, this is not happening? Because that's the hard part. I mean, when you're making a film, that's great, but then when you get, literally, it's like cut your baby loose, let it out. That's where a lot of filmmakers get really have a hard time. So what advice or what was your experience in dealing with that?
Well, you said a lot of things that are so interesting. First of all, cinema, it takes a lot of years. So if you're going to be with a project 5 years, you better like it, because if not, it's going to be tough, right? So first of all, do something that aligns with yourself. I don't think you should think about the public. No, just think on what you want to tell, and then there will be a public for sure. Then the process of distribution. Sometimes it's very difficult to get a distribution company. In my case, it was very hard. Actually, when I call my Lucky, my distribution company, they are super premium. They only take a couple of people in this small company, and it's really hard. First advice I give you is call. Like, don't send emails, because nobody reads emails. And if they don't know you, they're not going to read it. So if you're interested in a distribution company, call them. So I call them. And I remember perfectly, he was saying that he didn't work with science fiction. Now, in the past, yes, but now, no. But I think he saw I was passionate. And then he saw the movie. And then he liked it a lot, because actually sometimes it's not about the gender, it's about the taste, right? And now he's one of my best friends, Eduardo. He's amazing. The work he did, I have to say, like, I was lucky because he's a splendid person, a fighter, and he fought for this movie. Actually, I think I was in New York because of him, because he really got, because when I see your festival, I see it's really something for faith, like it's so aligned with faith. And then so I would advise, call the people. I would advise, put yourself a plan. Like, for example, what I do normally is that I put down all of the telephones of all the distribution companies, and I say to myself, I'm going to call them in 2 weeks. I'm going to call all of them. Talk with the people, because normally we artists are really individualistic. We are at home and we think things, and then reality is totally different. So talk with the people, make yourself a plan, call everyone. I'm like, I don't know. I have many difficulties doing this movie. Like, I don't think I will ever have these difficulties ever doing any project. This was really difficult for me. I got a lot of no's, like 1,000 no's, but I just kept on going. I'm a person that I never give up. I don't know. I'm like that. So I just, if no, okay, then go to the next. No, go to the next. And I'm sure you will find someone that will connect.
That's true. Now, a couple of questions from that is, first one is, when you call the distribution company, who there are a lot of different people within it. Is there any specific person within the company that is the right person to talk to? Because I'm sure they got gatekeepers. They say, no, he's not available. She's not available. Can I take a message? And then, so who is the person? How do you get through the gatekeeper? Who is a person? I'm not sure how things work in Europe, but I know in the U.S., getting to a hold of even a distribution company can be very challenging. So who's a gatekeeper? Usually that name, like, is that a VP of sales or sales acquisition director? I mean, who generally have you found is the gatekeeper, and how do you get through? I mean, because I'm sure they got secretaries and executive assistants and so on that kind of like don't want that. So how do you what was your experience with that?
So totally. So in Spain, it's totally different than in the US. So in Spain, like in shorts, for example, there are only 10 distribution companies, and they're normally the owner, and it's really easy to find for shorts, right? In the US, I more or less know the market. Some trips I did, and I understand the process, because sometimes for casting for my series, I am talking to agents there, and I understand what you mean. It's very corporate stuff. I tell you here, I think what I would do is go to events where these people are, and try to find them in person. Try to break this barrier by find them, because maybe by the phone you're not going to make it, but maybe if you go to some festival where this person is or whatever, maybe you can have a chance. But you have to work a lot. And what I think is the best, like, the reason I think I got some success with this is quality. Like, if you do something with a lot of quality, you put all of the quality you can. When they see it, I mean, doesn't matter, they don't know you, but if they see something with such high quality, I think you get something. You have to get something.
Yeah. And, well, one thing I also want to add to your credit is that it's an original storyline. It's not just like, parallel universes as going time travel, and which I see a million of them. It kind of breaks my heart whenever I get so many. It's just like, my girlfriend was killed. I want to go back in time so I can.
Oh, that's a typical.
Yeah, and that's those tropes. I tell filmmakers, please avoid those, because even though it might seem like an original idea to you, to the film festival, they've seen 1,000 of them. But when I came across our programmers came across your film, they really thought, this is really different. This is really original. It's a new way of contacting others, and rather than from talking through. So I felt, okay, this is the way to go. I mean, this is really and plus, of course, the quality, the sound is one thing that a lot of you go to film school, you don't go to film school. The one thing you always got to look at, the sound has to be top notch. because I've seen so many films with very questionable sound, and they don't go anywhere. And it's something that a lot of filmmakers these days, because they're doing digital or HD, so not digital, they think, or they just rush to feature, and I think it's not so smart, because first of all, features are very difficult to program. Even at our festival, we only do half a dozen or so. It's not a 2-hour feature plus Q&A. On the other hand, a short, this is a good calling card for something bigger and more compelling. So I tell it, stick to shorts. It's also, a feature is more tricky, and we really need to do that. Now, so what again? I may have mentioned that in the bio. And what is the name of the distribution company?
It's My Lucky Films.
My Lucky Films.
You can contact them, guys, if you are outside Spain, because he's actually, I think I'm the only Spaniard right now he has, or the second.
Okay.
He's working My Lucky with MAEKULI. Yeah, like My Lucky.
Yeah, I will definitely include that in the link for those who have problems.
And he's amazing, and he has people from around the world, from Korea, from, I don't know. Yeah,
and that's especially a good advice, because these days, you may not know that, you probably know this, Prime used to take shorts. You could submit to Prime and get your short on Prime Video. Not anymore. Now they only look at features, and it's a big deal now. Even getting a feature into Prime, even it comes from a top festival. So I think that it's good to be aware of that. So let's for those who are not just joined the call, I'm talking here with Carol Butron, director of Faith. Carol, I also want to mention those that I think your film, and you'll be present, if I don't get it correctly, you'll be present at our next festival, which we're going to be doing in France, in Lille. October 27th, October 28th. I'm going to leave the link. I know there are some people here in the chat that are from France, and it will be with French subtitles. So definitely looking forward to that. So right now you got something called GAIA. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that. That seems like another exciting project. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, and what's the base, without giving away much, just get the basic premise of GAIA and a series, which is really challenging. I mean, so tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so normally, after you do this kind of big short, you do a feature, right? And I do have a feature. It's called The Bird, and I have the script half written, and it's about a woman that becomes a bird, and like a modern Quixote. It's something I really look forward to do. But when I started with my next project, it was 2020. When I ended Faith around August, I started to think on the next project. And then it was COVID. And then I read that COVID, one of the causes was climate change, was the lack of biodiversity, right? So, when you do a project, it's going to be 5 years. And like the 5 years are critical for humanity right now. I mean, we are really near to 1.5 degrees. And I think everyone should think, I don't think I'm special for thinking about that, but I think a lot about that. And I said, I cannot be doing art, talking about my own thing, my bird woman, when the world is like this. I need to talk about this, right? But I'm not going to do a documentary. And I think you should give to the world what you're good at. I think I'm good at doing this, and doing fiction and touching people through music, I'm a sound person. I always work from sound. And yes, you said I invested a lot of money in sound, a lot of money in the movie. Like I was like, no, I want the best sound, and also camera. But you're right. So yeah, so again, with all of these ideas about the world, about the situation, the main idea of doing a series in 2030 with the climate crisis came to my mind. I had an image, a vision about how to do it, like a magic realism idea in the story. I'm not going to tell it because you guys in the US are really good at these things. but I got like an idea that I think is gonna work. And then so I'm really happy because it like I want to write about this topic, but I didn't do it intellectually. Like I want to talk about climate change and no, like I let myself like feel like around nature and damage, and then I got this vision one day, and I was like, oh, I like this. I can work from this, right, from this idea. So yeah, it's a thriller in the frontier in Catalonia, France. It's a short form series. Chapters are from 20-30 minutes, like Scam or like series like that. Because here, I wanted, as I said, I'm very, I like the reason I did a series was because with COVID, I think that people weren't going to the cinema, and if I want to reach people with this subject, I need to do television. But I cannot do long chapters of 1 hour. Maybe it's too much, but this is affordable for me because it's like the same length of a feature, and it's very trendy right now, short forms. There's one, maybe you know, El Effondrement, El Colapso in filming, that is also ecological. And one thing I have to say around my project is that I'm happy that I've done some. You said the other day, I really like it in a video. You said in a Facebook direct, you said we are losing humanity. The best we have is humanity, and we are so obsessed with technology and so on. So I'm happy because the thriller I'm doing, it's about climate change, but it's not a dystopic world, because I only see series where the world is ending. There's apocalyptical series, right? And I think we also need a little bit of hope. I mean, you can do a thriller, but you can believe in the characters. They don't have to be psychopaths or people dying, you know. They can be humanistic characters.
Yeah, that's really true, and I think that I'm sure that I'm sure the take you'll will be kind of like, I just get a sense that it won't be just a typical trope on the climate crisis and then look at the poor trees and they're, because I think that there's a whole way of telling the story that can really connect people to their environment in a much deeper way than usually is told. And now, is this going to be different 30-minute vignette, like different shorts, or is this going to be in the arc? Is he's going to follow one character over the whole series, or several characters, or they're all connected? How is that going to work?
It's one character.
Right.
It's a story about a father and a daughter that at one point, I can tell. I won't tell other thing, but this I can tell. At one point we lose connections between frontiers in the world. But I'm not going to tell this from a macro perspective, but from a local perspective, how this affect to a girl and a father. The girl stays in France and the father in Spain, and they cannot communicate anymore because of this magic break we had because of climate change. So you actually follow the story of the girl in her car trying to reach her father. It's very emotional. It's a really fast-paced thriller. The ecological thing is around because people connect with, like what I said, what I thought is like my inside wish is, can I tell the drama of climate change through emotions, through characters, and not through ideas? Because through ideas and documentaries, people are like, oh, but they don't understand what is. They don't really get it, I think. So how can we make something that is more emotional, more like so yeah. And also I have to say that I also want to shoot ecologically. So the way you shoot ecologically is right from the content. Like, for example, write a story that is around 100 kilometers. That's ecological. Write a story where you don't bring actors from the US if you are in Spain, right? By plane. So it's also something really local in the frontier, Catalonia and France, and I really like that as well.
Excellent. I think that's really, and you really hit it right on the nail on the head, which is that there a lot of the stories, even on climate change, are being told from a technological point of view, and they're not really being told how it impacts our humanity and how it really we kind of start losing. For example, I live here in New York City, and I can see how New Yorkers are kind of cut off from nature. I mean, it really is. I mean, the way a lot of the habits tend to be more towards more away from just I'm going to go into my hike in the mountains versus some other places that may be closer to that. So definitely the absence or the deterioration of our forests and our waterfalls and contamination, that's all impacting how we relate to reality. And the last thing we need is some tech bozo come around and say, well, I have the solution to the climate change. It's called a new virtual reality. So the most messed up, but we can all dive into this virtual reality, and that would be great. And that's not the answer. The answer is we got to reconnect with our environment, with the earth and its creatures. And I think that's I just my personal sense that you're definitely the person for the job. So what is the timeline on this? I mean, are you right now in pre-production? Is it still like working out the financials?
We're working the financials. I was really lucky. This is like an example of connections, right? When I did my first short in Gijón, a festival, big festival in Spain, I met this guy, Diego, from La Charito Films. It was 2017, right? And he's a broker, but he's super nice, and he invests in movies, and he created a company, and he likes gender. He does genders. He's always in SITGES, right? So I was doing Faith, and he said he was not investing in shorts. This is like that. Shorts are for what you said, for showing what you can do, right? But I remember him from 2017, and then when I was, and he's from Catalonia, where SITGES is, right, the festival where I premiere. So when I was going to premiere, I said, hey, let's send a message to this guy I talked to 4 years ago in the north of Spain, that he was really, really nice. And then I wrote him, hey, I'm going to be in SITGES. And then he was there as well. And then he was there. And as I say, everything that I got, that's most of things, were meeting people. I'm not a very social person sometimes. I don't like I prefer to stay at home or having a quality conversation. But you have to do that, definitely. You have to go to the places, meet the people. So then I met him there, and luckily, like, this was September, and luckily we just got these prizes for GAIA, the prize from France Television, to do the development. And then I told him, and then he was interested. He said, hey, I don't have any series I only doing features. Why not? And I think he also liked my energy there, like very positive. He saw with my crew taking the pictures of Faith. That was really great. And now they are my co-producers, and I have to say they are amazing. So answering your question, good thing now is that I'm not alone, that I have them. So now it's easier because they work with tax, with companies, through tax deduction. This is really important thing, where you can invest 25% of your movie with tax deduction, and they work with that. So they have money. I mean, they work, they are experts on that. So this helps a lot, because now I go to a television and I say we have 25% in of the project already. So this really helps. So the point we are now is, and also something that's really helping is that they are moving the project. I don't have to do all myself. They are much better than me in public relationships. And so now we are talking with several broadcasters. We are working as well with the distribution company from Will Smith, as I said. Wow. We are also talking to the media fund of the European Union. And I know, because it's my first project, like big project, I know it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be something that, hey, I put you the money, or hey, I bought you the series. It's not going to be like that. I know it's going to, for me now, it's like a puzzle. Let's see where or how, like with France 3 maybe, or with media, or with this, or maybe putting money. Like we have to build it this time. But it's totally different when you have people, when you have co-producers. supporting you, and all of that because of what you said, because of doing a great work, really hard, short film, with a lot of effort and investing. So that's worth it. Yeah.
So your focus with ideally would be when Gaia is done, or at least the first few installments, is to go on film. I mean, on television, or you're going to be looking at streaming like Netflix or Amazon, or it's going to be like local, like within the, say, the Spain, France area. I mean, is there a specific strategy that you guys are following?
Yeah, so Gaia for me is a 5-season program, right? I want to do one. My ideal is to do locally, all of the seasons locally, but in each of the 5 continents. That's like my idea. But let's see, because the first season has closure, but it's open to do more. And I really want it to be watched everywhere in the world. So we are. I mean, this is the other day I was with some people that are in the high level of the pyramid, and they were saying this is a premium kind of content. It should go to Netflix, or it should go to HBO or something like that. So my first strategy is to go to the platforms, because the public that watch in the platforms are much more into science fiction or this type of stories, right, than in linear production, right? So my idea would be to sell the project to Netflix, Amazon, or HBO. That would be like my super ideal. To sell it like that they will help us produce it and so on. But other option is we sell windows, they call. So we will, since we want it to be everywhere, you sell it to France 3 or to Canal Plus, then you sell it to Amazon United States, and then you sell it to, and you can do it. It's also good to do that, because then you keep the rights. Actually, I like that better, because you keep the rights of the project, and that's good. Instead of selling the whole thing, you just sell windows.
And 5 seasons with the same characters, or different? Each season will have a different. And how many episodes per season? Like 10 or 12 or 5?
It's 20 to 30 minutes, 8 chapters
per season. And each it's going to follow this same 5 characters, over the 5 seasons, or is that something you haven't quite figured out yet?
Yeah, I figure we have 2 options. Actually, we are thinking on 2 options. In one option, we will follow the same characters, but this option needs a lot of investment. The other option, we will have different characters in each season telling the same story. The moment we break frontiers, what's happening to these people in this moment locally, right? How they're affected. With the other thing, I'm not going to say, with the magic realism thing, but the other. And so what I was thinking was to do different locally stories, but keeping the characters from the season before. At some point, you see the characters, because of the thing I'm not telling. You can see.
It's that secret sauce, so you don't want to share with it. Yeah.
No, it's like the thing I'm not telling is like the soul of the project. So I'm not normally a person that tells everything. I'm like that, and now I'm working on being more.
I perfectly understand as a filmmaker myself. You have to, but you've given us definitely good enough bites to really get excited about this project. So, you have any idea? I know this as to when principal photography will start, if or at this point it's still too uncertain. I mean, next year, let's say, or is there any kind of indication, or what?
Yeah, we're selling right now. So the story, the story is done. Like, we wrote the skeleton of the 8 chapters, which is the most difficult, and we have 2 chapters written, but the others is really quickly when you have the skeleton, like writing the chapters.
You're gonna be pre-selling the series, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you don't write all of the chapters. This is something I'm learning, Dan, because if Amazon buys, maybe they want to change something in the chapter.
Someone else for its, yeah.
So you don't write everything, but I have the skeleton. So this is the hardest. We've been developing for 2.5 years the skeleton, and I have to say my co-creator is Carlos Limon. I have to thank him. He is really, really super young. He's like 22, but
Okay.
and he has these amazing ideas, and he is doing a lot of work when I cannot do it. So I'm
Now,
really
and
thankful to
he
him.
is a producer or director?
No, he's the co-creator with me. He's the
Co-creator.
co-writer. It's really great. I always sell him like the Greta Thunberg because he's really young, so he has the vision of a young, but it's not true because he's really old in mind. So it's really funny. But he's doing a lot of work, and I'm really thankful. So, but we've done a really deep work of, we did investigation, like this is a fast thriller, but I wanted to have a lot of layers. So we were studying theories like Donna Haraway. We were studying ecological theories to write this story, so that is more deep, because otherwise it's just my idea. And I'm not a very nature person, actually. I agree on nature, but I'm more city. But we studied a lot. And also I'm doing an investigation with Brian Hunt and Richard Fu, two people. How does nature sound? And how does visual sound? So before the shooting, we are doing an investigation before the shooting, because I really want everything to be like really, like very well thought.
And will you be the director, or is that something you're appointing yourself director, or will you be sharing your director chair with other directors? How is that working out?
Yeah, I think I will have another one or two, maybe another one director because I'm more in the show running here in the series. So maybe I will have another director.
Fantastic. Maybe. Excellent. Well, Carol, I think we're coming to the end of our interview. Very excited to hear about GAIA. And of course, Faith is still doing its rounds. I wanted to let, again, anyone who just joined us recently, that is being speaking with Carol, who's the director of Faith, and I guess what would be your title, producer or showrunner of GAIA coming up?
Creator
of GAIA. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be adding links at the end of this interview below regarding just where to reach you. If there are people out there who will be interested in reaching out to you for perhaps in a executive production capacity or whatever, please send me some links, because I definitely want to include those in the bottom.
Amazing.
And I will also include the fact that Carol will be hopefully with us at the next Philip K. Dick Festival in France. This is the 8th.
I am, because I bought the tickets already.
Great, fantastic. We'll definitely catch up, and hopefully by then there'll be some more information you can share with me, and we'll definitely get the group out. Our goal here at the Philip K. Dick Festival is to really support filmmakers any way we can and really get the word out on an emerging talent, which Carol is definitely one of the top. So, well, I think, Carol, if you have any more questions, I think that, or statements you want to share with the public before we go.
I want to thank you, Dan. I want to thank you, because what happened in New York is a dream for me. I'm gonna cry. No, but really, in Spain, you know what happens, like New York is like, whoa. So we are like that. Human beings are like that, right? So every time I say that I was in New York, people are like, whoa. And this is really helping my career right now. So I'm really thankful that you watch all of the things that you receive as a festival. That's super professional. That you value the work, that you watch it, because it's not always the case. And then I also have to say that the screening was the best. Like, sometimes you go to screening to a festival, and then last screening I was going down because of the sound, and I was telling to the guy, please put the sound higher, man. No, I composed but the screening in New York was like, you could see that you have watched everything, you have checked that everything was perfect. And then the feeling I got after going there was, this is really professional. They really value my work. This is not only I put you in, no, they really work. And this, I really want to thank you for this. Really, it's been really important for me. So I'm really grateful.
Well, thank you for participating and really showing up and really being there. as a filmmaker, I realized that the one thing that we want when we really go out and make your film, that we have an audience, because I've heard too many stories in the past of filmmakers who go there and only 5 people at the screening, and that's, so we always go out to really make sure that filmmakers have a good experience and they get a chance to meet others, and really, it's part about collaboration. And I'm happy that you have a team now. It's not just you writing in the middle of the night, but an idea. You have a team of, seem like, really talented people who want to work with you, and that's the key thing. That's the next step, because once you get a team, and that team can make magic on a much larger scale, and I'm excited to hear that from you. And I wish you the best of luck. As I said, send me any links that you might have regarding where people can contact. In fact, if anybody is there a number, a link you have?
Yeah, I mean, just go to my website. It's really easy. It's my name.com, right. carolbutron.com. And then in contact, you have my email. I think my telephone. You can call me. They put the Spanish +31.
carolbutron.com.es, right?
Yeah, you can find me in Instagram as well, Facebook. And if I can help you, really go ahead. I was just like, if you want something, go for it. Just never give up. That's my advice, because I had all of the problems. I had all of them. I can tell you 1,000, but just go for it. Go for it.
Well, on that note, Carol, thanks a lot. Thanks again for sharing. We'll definitely meet again in late October, and keep us posted. If any new breakthroughs, don't wait until then. Send me an email. Hey, Dan, I got this, and we'll make sure we put it and get it out to people, to all our fans, and
I'll be delighted. I hope we keep cooperating, because I think my project is very aligned to what you do. So at the end, this is a community of value, as you said. So
absolutely. I mean, we are the resistance.
We're the resistance, exactly.
Okay, Carol, great speaking with you. You have a good. It's probably the evening there, but have the rest of the evening with you. And again, thanks for having you.
Thanks to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. And for those who have, thank you for joining me. Please click on the link below if you're in Facebook, like it. Or if you're in YouTube, add to that link, add to the chat, subscribe to the channel. This way we can go up the ranks. We're really starting to bring in a lot of new people, and Carol was one of their main ones. But I want to really thank everyone for joining us. It's been an exciting conversation. I hope this won't be the last, but many more with exciting filmmakers and researchers and other people in this field. So again, click on the link below. Email us if you want to be of our mailing list, info at the Philip K. Dick Film Festival. Again, thank you for sharing. You have any thoughts on how to make this better, please let me know. I'm all ears. We're here at Community. As I mentioned with Carol, we are the resistance. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.